Hello. Thank you very much for joining tonight. We are especially pleased to welcome all of you, as someone just said, on 5 continents nearly. We are going to talk tonight about fear and, most importantly, how to handle fear in 2023.
So I've checked the definition of fear. And the definition of fear is an unpleasant emotion or thought that we have when we are frightened or worried by something dangerous, painful, or bad, which is happening now or might happen. And actually, Anne-Laurence is going to give us a little explanation, scientific explanation about the threat, the purpose of fear as a threat.
Okay, thank you very much, Isabelle. Scientists talk about 3 brains, sometimes even 4, but we're just going to focus on the 3 brains. And these 3 brains are the neocortex, the limbic or emotional brain, and the reptilian brain. And our reptilian brain is directly connected to the calf muscle. So for those who don't know what the calf muscle is, it's the calf in the back of your lower leg behind the shin bone. There are actually 3 muscles in that area that work together to help you walk, run, jump, stand on your toes, flex your foot, and lift your toes up. So in case of fright, fear, or danger, the reptilian brain immediately activates these muscles so that you can flee unless you are so overwhelmed by fear that you freeze on the spot, which might often occur. Isn't that so, Isabelle?
Oh, yes, it is true. And the limit and the second purpose of the fear is that it's limiting us in a way that it's an imaginary threat. So false beliefs or transmission of others' fears, people are just like, don't do this project, don't start it because it's going to fail. For them, maybe, but they do it with a good intention, but they transfer the fear onto you. And sometimes we have plan A, plan B, plan Z, and thinking, oh, that might happen, and it doesn't. So it's normal to be afraid, but be careful not to be trapped by fear, because it will prevent us from doing the things we really want to do.
My specialty is helping people who don't dare to be themselves. What I mean by being yourself is being able to be authentic, to say what you think, to talk the truth, whatever you might think is the truth, and to just be able to be as you are. That's what I mean by being your true self. These last 3 years, especially, it has been very difficult, even more so, to say what you think for fear of being rejected or unloved, to do what you like. We were locked down for a long time, to live where you want, of course. Christian, now over to you. We're going to talk about your main subject.
Thank you very much, Anne-Laurence. So yes, at the very beginning, I was mentioning I would talk about the fear of being on stage. And amazingly, this is a fear which is very largely shared by a lot of people across cultures, across ethnicities, all over the world. So I'm not going to make an anthropological review of the origin of this, but I would just like to say that I think we live, especially in a perfect time where it is a good thing to come back on stage, or when I say stage, I would say speaking within a community. And this could be 10, 20, or 50 people. But reconnecting with groups. And this is the real topic. Reconnecting with groups, forming community networks, and speaking for ourselves. And at the same time, relearn how to speak in public if we think it's necessary, because these times really call for that, to form again communities and talk about our own stories. I say relearn, because before the mass communication technologies, right, before even radio, so that's 100 years ago, more than 100 years ago, roughly, people were talking. They were talking. They were assembling. So it could be within big families, and it could be within villages, where the best entertainment was to listen to stories, and those stories had a value. They had the value to teach, to entertain, of course, and especially to share wisdom.
So the definition of fear of the unknown is that the tendency to be afraid of something we don't know. We've got no information on any level about something we face, right? It can escalate into an intolerance of uncertainty.
The fear of the unknown is definitely universal. Can we handle better the fear of the unknown in being more rational about the things and say, okay, I don't know what is going to happen, but I can use a bit of a rational mind to separate issues, cut the risk into small bits, and realize after all, okay.
Knowing who you are is the key to overcoming the fear of being your true self. So that might help you, what I'm going to say, Jason, about knowing ourselves is the first step to overcome fear. And any fear, I think, is to be able to know your true self.
Regarding the fear of public speaking, we would agree that it's mostly about emotions. And Anne-Laurence talked also about emotions a few minutes ago, and it is due to limiting beliefs about ourselves. Let's say someone who has not had a lot of opportunity to speak in public can be easily overwhelmed by so many pair of eyes, fixing this person on stage. So it's about limiting beliefs. So I'm not going, everything Anne-Laurence just mentioned can be helpful for public speaking, especially overcoming the fear of public speaking. Because what it is basically, this is a rapid stress. This is chemistry produced in the brain that has the effect of paralysis most of the time, and inducing bizarre thoughts.
Right. Really focusing on that connection instead. So I wondered if you could talk a little bit about, does reframing kind of work towards that? I'm not as familiar with reframing as I once was.
Yes.
Like, is that part of it?
Not exactly. The reframing is a tool to calm down the stress level. That's it. Okay. Now, to connect with the people, I totally agree with you. And we are just given a few minutes here, so this is a slightly bigger topic. But let's say connect with the people. My understanding of it is it's essential. It's about, I would say, it's about being oneself and not being afraid to improvise.
My first tip is to challenge your negative thoughts, beliefs, and what I call as well the inner monologue. When you talk to yourself, just like, no, I can't do it, and that's going to happen. You'll be aware of that thought coming to you and evaluate the evidence there is to support that thought, that belief, that inner monologue. Look if there is a pattern as well. Just pause and just say, hey, does it happen every time I watch the news? Does it happen every time I talk to that person? Every time I'm in that situation? And as Christian and Anne-Laurence were saying, we have tools, we have skills, we have talents. Then we were talking about change. Change is constant and everywhere. So accept it, embrace change. Right?
Facing verbal attacks of any kinds, whether it's during a public speaking occasion with someone from the audience saying something not very nice, or it could be at the office, it could be on the workplace. There is one sentence which actually is very effective in 3/4 of the cases, which is, why do you say that? Just that.
So please be curious, childlike, push boundaries, expand your comfort zone, accept what life puts before you because there are opportunities. And one thing I want you to take with you today is that you are more resilient than you think.
So shall we wrap it up here? Isabelle, maybe you can put the last slide and we will wrap it up. And unless anyone has some questions.
Stretch your calf muscle to release your stress. It's very efficient.
Ferdi has got to go, but he says very helpful. Thank you. So thank you, Ferdi.
Right. Okay. And
Chantal, I'm not sure.
Chantal, thank you very much, Chantal. Yeah. Great.
All right.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you all.